Leon, help!
See?
Lots of Leons, lots of no's, and lots of screaming in the booth, yes. So I don't know what he's done yet. I haven't met him or seen it. Like, how am I supposed to imitate something I've never heard?
Yeah, she was hot.
I'm gonna second that. Smoking.
That was the first, I think, possibly the first scene we filmed in the game. And we just dove right into one of the most complicated ones possible. And it was just fun.
You're watching convention coverage.
Look, you all know me. A lot of people know me. I've been Leon for a little bit, but everyone give it up for my RE4 family right here. We have Genevieve, Buechner, Chris Jane, Marcio, Moreno, and who are we missing? Andre Pena. We're missing Andre. He's gonna be here momentarily, but hello everybody. Thank you for coming. Wow, how's everybody doing? And how is everybody liking SacAnime?
Which is your favorite Resident Evil game, both to play and to be in?
My favorite game is the original RE4 because I got to introduce my little brother to that in 2005. I've been playing the franchise since '98, and so that one was just really close to my heart. And hey, we have an Andre. Everyone give it up for Andre.
He found us.
Welcome. We're answering a question, Andre. Favorite RE game, and what was the second part of it?
Which is your favorite one to be in?
Oh, okay. Well, the favorite one to be in is this one, RE4 Remake with these guys here, just because we just had a blast filming it. It was so fun. We didn't want it to end, and so there you go.
Yeah. I haven't played all of them, but I recently was playing through the first. There's like a remastered version of the first. Is that the one? Or something?
Oh yeah.
I think
HD
that's
Remake.
That one. I've had a great time playing that, and then obviously RE4 Remake. But that one is maybe also my favorite as well, just to play, because they did a great job with it. And I might be this much biased. Andre?
Hola. How are you today? Doing good? Okay. Me too.
And give it up for his Ashley cosplay. Love it.
I call it manchly. So, to answer the question, I would say that I really enjoyed 7. I really enjoyed 7. It made me scream like Ashley more than once. And then from there, I would have to say that it's the original RE4. Yeah, those are the two ones that I love. I haven't played RE4 Remake just yet. I'm working on Village.
Crazy.
Same.
So stay tuned on my streams for that, but I have to get through Village first, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot, but yeah, so I'm not there yet, but at this point, the original, I can literally speed run it because I've played it so much, and the hardest difficulty too, because I've lived and breathed that for about 2.5 years. So a lot of research from that game, from the original. So yeah, thank you.
And Risk is sounding like a broken record. I'd have to say my favorite's also the original Resident Evil 4. And shout out to the original voice cast as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hello. How's everyone?
Good.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm gonna say the OG 4. I did play the second one as well, I like. But my favorite to bet in is this one. Of course.
Oh yeah.
Hey, yeah.
Good question. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was wondering that since this is not only characters previously voiced by other voice actors, but also it being a remake means you have voice lines that can be directly compared word for word. Do you worry about fan reception more because the character, like keeping the character intact, or do you maybe feel relief since it's already like tried and true?
That's a really good question, actually. I have experience with this even from RE2 Remake that was heavily compared. They're different games. They make it a point to have everyone understand that they are reimaginings. And so they do honor the originals. It's the same backbone, same DNA as the originals, but they do a little modern spin on it. I think RE4, for instance, the remake, did a perfect job of balancing that line where they gave a lot of old fans all those moments, like hundreds of moments where you're like, yes, that's the thing, that's it. But then also adding the new stuff and just twisting it and turning it. And I think it's a great balance. So was I psyched out a little bit? Yeah, because I've been a huge fan for so many years. And even when they changed up the games, when I would play them as a fan, I had my own opinions. So going into it, being a part of it, I knew what people were going to say and think, but I'm just happy that the reception behind RE2 Remake and our game has been extremely positive, and that's why you guys are all here.
I think I got very lucky because, as we all know, OG Ashley, people have some opinions about her.
They do.
So it was nice to get the scripts and see what they had changed because it kind of felt like it was a different character. Like, obviously the same situation, going through the same struggles and everything, but they just reimagined her in such a positive way. So I felt the luckiest. I felt like it was the biggest sort of change, and I didn't have to live up to the previous, portrayal of her because they changed her so much. So I kind of felt like I got a brand new character in a way. And, props to the OG because she's so fun, and some of those lines are, very iconic for a reason. But I had a great time with what they gave me and how they changed her. So I loved it. I had a great time.
Leon, help!
See?
Lots of Leons, lots of no's, and lots of screaming in the booth, yes.
Hey, you got a smoke? There's one. I did know that I had big shoes to fill. I played the original when I was around 13 years old, and I loved it. Luis was my favorite character, and that's no joke. So for about the time that we were filming it, I lived in a constant state of nausea because I knew I was really aware of how big RE4 was, and I just didn't want to do anything but to do it justice. And I did take a lot of inspiration from the original. Like I said, I lived and breathed that for a while, but at the same time, I wanted it to be heightened to not just a character that is in and out and then gone, mysterious. I wanted it to be more open, if you will. So I did take a lot of inspiration, but I wasn't too worried because I knew with the great direction that we got from Steve and from Capcom that we worked together and we gave it our own spin. So I knew that I was always in safe hands. And I felt really okay with experimenting and having fun. And that we did. I feel like I had a blast. I still can't believe it. So, yeah.
It's very eloquent. You took the words out of my mouth.
Muchas gracias, amigo.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was terribly afraid of what people would think of my performance in this game, considering I'm such a massive fan of the original. I still think I prefer the original Sadler's take on the character to my own. With that said, I was just happy to be a part of it at the end of the day. I just rolled into the audition. I kind of did whatever I wanted to, not thinking that I would hear back from them ever, and they decided they happened to like it, and they called me back, and I just kept doing it, and now I'm here, and it seems like a few of you might like it too. So thank you for coming and meeting me today and the rest of us.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat as Andre here. I panicked. Literally. I had no idea that I was reading for Ramon. So when I did my original audition, I just did my thing, and then eventually I get the call back, and then I land the role, and then I figured out who he was. So I went on YouTube, of course, and I researched Ramon Salazar, and I see the OG, and I'm like, oh my God, that guy is iconic. How am I gonna do this? So yeah, it was scary. And I was afraid that everyone was gonna hate it, and but I had to trust our director and do our thing, and he was awesome directing, and just trust. As an actor, you're always thinking, oh my God, they're gonna like it. Am I doing a good job? Looking for the validation and hoping that you guys are gonna enjoy it as much as I did. But for the most part, I think you guys did. So thank you for welcoming me, and thanks for supporting the game and liking Salazar.
Thank you, guys.
I like killing Salazar.
Whatever.
That's fun.
With that egg?
What was the hardest line to record?
I would just say all the efforts when you do an action game like this. I think we all had all these hardcore effort lines when you're in battle, getting hit, hitting, striking, you know, all that stuff. It takes, for me, I don't know about you guys, it takes a toll. When you're in that booth, you got to take care of the voice. A lot of voice actors at their panels, they'll tell you the same thing. It's really intense. People think just standing behind a mic is just kind of easy, but it's not. You got to really put your whole soul and body into it. And when you're taking those hits, you know, it sells it. You feel like you're there because it hurts. You know, what does it feel like to get impaled with a claw through your stomach? I don't know, but I got to come up with something. So I'd say like the efforts are the hardest for me when you're burning to death or getting killed, you get exploded by a grenade or taking an axe to the neck. That stuff's pretty taxing.
I think 2 of them were the hardest for me, and one of them is just funny. And I found out that I can't run downstairs without looking at them because we were recording just a moment where I had to run down some stairs and say, Leon. So I'm up at the top of the stairs trying to run down and looking up and saying Leon, and I just could not do it. I kept looking down. There was nothing for me to hold. It's these rickety little wooden stairs. And I was like, this is so much harder than it needs to be. And then the other most difficult one was actually the Temperance Child line. Because when we did that, I had not met Chris, and I had not seen any of his portrayal at all, or heard any of it. And I was supposed to be, you know, mimicking how he sounded. And I was like, how? I don't even know what I don't know what he's done yet. I haven't met him or seen it. Like, how am I supposed to imitate something I've never heard? And they ended up pulling up, I think they only had like 1 or 2 things recorded, and that's it. So I was trying to like, you know, mimic this whole character based on 2 lines of audio that they had for me, and that was definitely tricky because I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work. And then I think the next day you were on set, and I was like, oh, well, if we could have done that scene today. But I think those were the 2 most difficult for me.
You nailed it.
No, thanks.
I would say that for me it was the monologues where I first see Ashley with, I can't say too much, but with something in her hand, and I'm like worried. I'm like, hey, this is the first time this has happened. That line is very heavy in dialogue for me, and to be able to balance saying it in the right, with the right pauses in between, and also remembering to envision the world around me, because when you're working motion capture or performance capture, 90% of the work that that we're doing is basically imagined. There's nothing there.
Big empty white
There's
room.
nothing there. Yeah. So to look at what you're looking at and have faith that the people on the other end are gonna do you a solid and put something there, and to imagine it as detailed as possible, that was really hard for me. So I think that line in particular, where I had to be able to remember everything and at the same time make sure that I am being aware of my surroundings that aren't even there, that was really tricky. But my schooling really helped, and having that background also, and doing a little bit of theater and all that really helped, because in theater you have to do that a lot too, where you have to imagine, you have to use your imagination a lot. And it was challenging, but I think I've seen that scene and it turned out pretty well, so yeah.
Well, to parrot a little bit of what Nick said, the hardest one for me was an effort right at the end of the game. Luckily, this was one of the last scenes we shot on the day. It's the scene where I believe I take a rod right to the dome, and I let out this big blood-curdling scream, and I go really high in my voice pitch, and it really hurt to do it. And the director's like, okay, we'll get a few more of those, and I'm like, yeah, I think I got like one. I got maybe one more, and then I'm gonna need to leave for a little bit. So for me, that was the hardest one.
I think for me was when I turn into a monster, and because I have so many lines on that battle, and of course they always like, give me 3. damn you, damn you, damn you. So, right? So it's like my throat at the end was done. So yeah, I think When I'm a Monster was the worst. And also, it wasn't a line, but just doing all the different bad guys, the physicality. I think that was like, okay, you're a Ganado, now you're Verdugo, now you're the Salvador. Just switching and remembering how they move and everything, that was pretty challenging. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you yourselves had to be in a Resident Evil game, in any of them, which one would you choose?
You mean in real life?
In real life.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I'm tempted to say 2. No, jeez, I would say 2.
Yeah.
That was my first one, and it was terrifying. And I like the thrill of being scared. That's why I love the horror genre, movies, games, everything. I just like how it affects me. So I think 2, just because it was so claustrophobic and haunting and dark and alone. You know.
It's awesome.
The dog in 4.
Hey.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah.
Not the dead ones, obviously.
8. I mean, 9. No, I mean, no. 8 is Village, right? 9.
9's not out.
No. I would say the original 4. The original 4, just because it was pretty impactful. Obviously, I was like 13 years old, but it was really impactful to me, and I know it was for a lot of people as well, and I think my generation more so. So I would say the original 4, yeah.
I picked Resident Evil 3 because Nemesis only wanted to kill the STARS members. And I'm clearly not a STARS member.
Yeah.
So I'd just be hiding out in a bathtub or a file cabinet. It's like, and I'd just book it out of there.
I think 4, just because also it's the same language, and I figure that I can probably,
talk my way out of it.
Those are good answers.
Yeah, I think 4 for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Has there ever been a moment where you guys felt like synergy with your characters?
I mean, what you were talking about, I was playing the game with my partner, and there's one of the puzzle moments, and we'd recorded, the hints if you are taking a while or having a hard time figuring out the puzzle. And it was taking a bit, and I was like, oh, I could tell you how to do it because I know how to do all of these. And right after I said, I can tell you how to do this, Ashley, the cued line kicked in, and Ashley, said the hint. And it was just very surreal and strange because it was like I was sitting on the couch with my partner and we're hearing me, but also just Ashley saying exactly what I'd said I could say. But I mean, I think this sucks is something that I very much resonate with her. That I would probably say the exact same thing. So that's why it's one of my favorite lines.
I'd say I felt the most synergy in a moment on set when we're doing the scene where you're on the altar, Jen, and then I'm controlling Leon's body, his hot body, and I'm walking around him, and I'm just such an egomaniac as I am in real life, and I lean into his ear and I go like she did. And I was like, man, I'm really nailing this. I'm doing a great friggin' job. And the scene's over, the director yells, cut. I was looking around like, right? They're like, yeah, okay, we'll go again. I'm like, ego crushed.
I think for me it happened, but at home. I was sitting in the living room, watching my cat, looking at birds, making noises, and I'm sitting there, and I said, please, do continue. And it was awesome.
I would say always, amigo. Always. I got to play this time around. Literally, it was me just having fun. So I felt at most synergy. Honestly, I could almost say the whole way through, it felt like I was getting ready to play Luis my whole life in a weird way. He was my favorite character growing up. All the quirks, all the way down to certain things that Luis likes. His taste in in weaponry and stuff and all that. Like, I've always been really intrigued by that. And when I got the role and I got to play, honestly, it felt almost effortless. Like, I knew exactly what he would do, what he would say. And I got a lot of trust from Steve, our director, as well. And he let me, sort of play around. And a lot of the stuff we didn't use, but some of the stuff we did, which felt amazing, honestly, to be able to say that, like, I gave this character life, and it was, in a way, really easy. So, yeah, I felt like all the way through, and it was really fun working with my fellow cast members, because we are such good friends that it felt like just hanging out, and yeah, although I have to say, the real life Leon Kennedy is much nicer, than his counterparts, but I substituted my brother, because my brother is a hothead, and it felt so effortlessly, because I would kind of poke at him, my brother, and he can't do anything, he'd just get more mad, and I would do that with him in his character, and it worked out, it translated really well. It was like just bickering, so yeah, I think the whole way through, I can't really say when, yeah. Thank you.
I'll kind of mirror a lot of things that they've said collectively, but kind of like what Genevieve said, with the RE2 remake especially, I didn't get to write a lot of my own dialogue, but we did have a lot of liberties with the curse words in that game. When he sees things for the first time, he's freaking out, and so we just did iteration upon iteration of F-bombs and curse words and shit, holy shit, and the first time, every time I play that game, every time something comes out at me, I'm just like, holy. If you see my streams, that's what I do. That's how I react. And so when I say that, it always happens in the game too. Like my clip gets empty or something, and I always like, God damn it! And then my character goes, God damn it! It's kind of this happens. I'm not exaggerating. It happens all the time, and it's funny. I laugh every time.
Thank you guys. You guys did a real great job, and I could definitely feel the passion behind all your work.
Thank you.
You should work in radio voiceover yourself. You've got a great voice.
I actually am aspiring to, so
smoky and
one of these days.
Don't give up. Do it.
What was your favorite voice line, if you have one?
I mean, I honestly like the one in the trailer where he says, "This time it has to be different," because it kind of sets up the theme of the whole game. Especially, that's a good throwback to the OG fans, and who knew RE2 Remake and knew what happened in that story, because they do tie the stories together quite well. And so I think that sets up the theme of the game. So that's mine.
I think one of my favorite lines in the game for Ashley is, "Thank you for saving me," because it's so sweet and genuine, and like, they're finally, away from the chaos, and it's like the first moment where she can actually relax and say something, and I think that's really lovely. And then my other favorite line is, "This sucks." And we did have a good laugh recording Skills. That was a fun one to record as well.
People can change, right?
Oh.
That one hits home for me. Because I did changing a lot. I did a lot of changing in my life. I've been through my ups and downs, a lot of downs. Now we're in an up with you guys, with this new family that I've created, or not created, I'm part of. And thank you for being so welcoming to this dude that honestly, it's been mostly downs, so like it's still surreal for me. So that whole thing of like trying to be better and trying to change and actually have a reward from it, it really hits home, that one line. It really does. So that one's for me.
You fall, renegade!
Wow, that was perfect.
Such a fool, Mr. Kennedy.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Good question.
Thank you. Nice cosplay.
What was like the scariest thing for you guys? Like just in all of the Resident Evil games, what's this one thing that would scared you the most?
Regenerators.
Yeah.
I second that. They've always been my favorite. Them and Nemesis from OG, 1999, that one.
regenerators, for sure. Squishy, terrible things.
Same.
That guy, Salvador. Whenever you hear that chainsaw revving, it's like, oh God, no, where is he? And all of a sudden, like you just hear it once, he's right there. It's like, okay, no, I'm dead now, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As you know, you guys all did mocap. What was it like to do mocap in like 2 different countries, being like Canada and Japan?
We actually only did the motion capture in Canada.
Oh, wow. And then how was the mocap process like?
It's great. It's really fun. You put on funny suits with shiny balls all over them, and you really have to use your imagination, like Andre was getting at. There's not much in the room. You have to imagine it's all there. You see some rudimentary CG on screen. They tell you what the environment's like. The director communicates things to you, and we just play. We just have to play, and then Capcom takes over, and they make a beautiful product.
Yeah. Okay. It was a great time. It was so much fun. I would love to do more performance capture. I think the most challenging part was the head cams.
Yeah.
The helmets are really, really tight because if the camera moves at all, they can't use the footage because they're, recording our facial movements and everything. So the helmets were tricky, and it's also a big camera in front of your face. So if we're, when he's like picking me up or when we're on the jet ski and stuff and we're close, it's a little tricky because we have to kind of keep our heads in a position where we don't bump anything, which feels kind of unnatural. It comes across fine in the final product, but I think the head cams are definitely the most tricky part of it. But all in all, a great time.
I definitely second that. I think the one where we're tied up, we had to do how many times?
That was tricky.
Because he would pull on the makeshift chain that is not really there. It's a rope, and I would obviously have to like lunge forward, get really close to his, to my co-star's face, and you can't do that with the HMCs. So the whole time, I'm having to remember to turn my head a little bit sideways, so I'm like kind of looking at him like this. It translates well into like screen, but it felt like the most awkward thing, honestly. We ended up having to at least 4 or 5 times redo it because our HMCs, which are the cameras, kept on knocking onto each other. So I think that was really, really challenging to get used to that, to act with like this, and then just bright lights right there as well. So it can blind you a little bit if you look into it. So that was pretty challenging. It was, other than that though, it was a lot of imagination work and really fun. Really, really fun, honestly.
Yeah, the head cam was tough. It was really tough. I got a big dome, so it was always cutting off the circulation in my head. There's actually a deleted scene in the game where me and Leon actually have to kiss.
What?
But I know, right? But our cameras just kept knocking into each other. So at the end of the day, after 2 days of filming that, they're like, yeah, okay, this isn't going to work.
2 days.
And I was like, do you want us to do it without the cameras?
Funny,
and they're like,
I don't remember that one. Was I there?
You were there in my imagination.
Yeah, I agree with the guys. Those sexy outfits, just tight in the right parts.
Leave nothing to the imagination.
Just get everything like right in there. And the helmet, squeezing your brain. But aside of that, it was super fun. I had the best time.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you all for your amazing performances of Resident Evil 4 Remake. That's my favorite game of 2023.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
When you saw the new concept for Ada Wong, what was your guys' reaction?
I love it. I always love to see new iterations and reimagining of characters. Of course, I love the old ones because I grew up with them myself.
Yeah.
But I love when they change it up just a little bit. So I always get excited personally.
Yeah, she looks amazing. I liked the shift in the character that they chose to do. I think they kind of elevated the sort of maturity of pretty much everyone, which I thought was really nice because, everyone grew up with those games with the OG RE4, and everyone's, in a different place in their life now than when they played it a long time ago, and it's nice to see it kind of grow up with the audience a little bit. So I liked it.
I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was very realistic, and a shout out to Lily because she did an amazing job. I don't know if I've actually ever met a a spy killer type of maybe I have. I just there's so but I felt like she would act and be like our Ada, and I think that Lily knocked it out of the park, and her redesign was chef's kiss. Yeah.
Yeah, she was hot.
I'm gonna second that. Smoking. On the other hand, what do you guys thought about Ramon's new look? Let's not open that kind of worm.
Hot.
Well, thank you guys a lot.
Thank
and
you.
Thank you.
You guys did amazing work.
Thank you so much.
What was y'all's favorite moment from the game?
I think the opening village fight. I was playing the demo for the original, and when I played that for the first time, that just never left me to this day. So to play it again with my little brother, that was wild. To experience it like where it's just a little different with modern mechanics, that blew my mind.
I think for me, it might have been Ashley's introduction in this game, because I think it gave you a really good taste of this version of Ashley, like right at the get-go. They're like, all right, she's a little different this time, and I loved that. I think that was a great scene.
I can't choose. But I was really itching for a smoke. Like for I don't know how many years. And I really liked the scene with the smoke. Yeah.
I like the village. Village is my favorite. Favorite in the original, favorite in this one.
Yeah.
I'm with Nick. I love the opening, the demo, the village, but I really enjoyed the scene I did with Nick before we get into the good stuff, when you shoot me.
That was fun. That was
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
So knowing that Resident Evil 4 has such a large kind of cult following, I would consider it a cult following. What did you guys do to kind of prepare for your roles, and were there points in kind of recordings and stuff like that that you guys said, maybe I should up the cheese, lower the cheese a little bit there, make it more serious, kind of stuff like that?
For me, honestly, I just got in some really, really good shape. Not because I had to for the role, but it's more like a mentality thing. I just knew this guy was trained. He was a operative going in and save. I'm a method actor. I like to feel it. So I got in really good shape. I got in the right headspace for this. This is my one chance to remake my favorite game of all time. It's not going to happen again. So I just had to be in the right headspace. And I wanted to go in. I didn't know the director at the time, Steve Kniebley. But I was just going to trust him because my friends trusted him in the past with his past games with Capcom. I worked with Capcom before. I just trusted everybody, like Andre was saying. And so I didn't prep the lines. I didn't think about the lines. I didn't know what was going to happen. I knew it was going to change as we go. And so just being in the right headspace. That's it. I injected a little cowboy into this guy, and I just had fun. We all had so much fun on this one.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd never done performance capture or mocap or anything like that before, so I didn't really know what was going to happen. I was just eagerly awaiting the day, and it was a little tricky to, prep for the character because all I had was obviously the OG RE4, and I didn't get sent, I got sent character art. That's the main first thing that I got, and I didn't get any scripts or anything for a while. I got them pretty much right before we started. So it was a little intimidating to be like, I have no idea, what I'm gonna be saying. I have no idea if this character is gonna be the same. Once I got there and I did get the scripts and everything, I think it wasn't too challenging. I think she's like a really relatable sort of, standard terrified 19, 20-year-old. I've been there, not exactly there, but in the same age range, but it wasn't too bad.
The game, playing, it was me. Playing the video game, I think there was a while where I literally became really good at it. Just obviously, I would save the parts where Luis was, or right before, so I could just play that over and over and over again. And watched a bunch of Spanish actors from Spain. I lived and breathed Spanish from Spain for a while until I was able to actually get that accent down. And yeah, I would say that was the main preparation. I think other than that was, I didn't work out. I just smoked a lot. Just kidding. Don't smoke, kids. Don't do it. But yeah, other than that, there wasn't too much. Just I did my due diligence with the game. Look at the backstory of what Resident Evil was, of the past video games. Just research. Yeah.
Yeah, to prepare for this game, I did a lot of crying in the bathtub. And that wasn't really getting me anywhere, so my buddy Jared, shout out to Jared in the front row, he was like, okay, buddy, it's time to get out. I'm like, okay. So I would have my script, I'd just walk around with it. I was like, okay, what sounds cool? What doesn't sound like the original guy? What sounds cool? And I was watching like Star Wars Revenge of the Sith.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, I could rip that off. I could kind of steal that. And I just rolled in and everyone seemed to kind of be okay with it.
I asked my brother, who lives in Spain, with the girlfriend, to record all the lines with the accent. I lived in Spain 5 years, so that really helped. But I needed a reminder, so I got all the lines, and then I watched a ton of the original Ramon. Not to copy it, but just to keep the essence of the character and do justice to it. And then just play around, and I spent hours recording the lines and listened to them and figured out if it sounded cool or not, because I figured if it sounds cool to me, maybe it will sound cool to you guys. And he has a lot of ups and downs, right? So that was the tricky part. So a lot of practice, a lot of crying, a lot of swearing. But yeah, that was pretty much my process.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, we're like normal. What sport do you think your characters would play or like would enjoy?
Soccer. Sorry.
Maybe like water polo, something chill. I don't know. Maybe?
Volleyball.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
Volleyball. I think Ashley would like to be on the beach playing volleyball, chilling out.
I think Sadler's playing badminton for sure. Croquet, something like that.
I'm gonna go with tennis.
I play tennis. I'm on my high school's varsity tennis team.
Let's go.
Right on.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fun one, thanks.
You guys have a day where you're in the booth all day. What do you have with you for your voice and your throat?
It's a good question.
And when that day is done and you go home, what do you do to recover?
Definitely a lot of water. You got to go into the booth hydrated, stay hydrated. I love just a warm tea with honey and ginger, something like that, mint, I don't know. And then at night, I just smoke cigars all night and drink whiskey. That might be a lie.
Yeah, I definitely had a lot of screaming to do. So we would always keep all of the screaming to the end of the day. Like we would record everything first and then do like, an hour of just screaming, which was great fun. You just let it all out. But yeah, lots of hydration. There's like a jar of, it is lemon, ginger, and honey, and it's a mix. And there's an Asian supermarket near me that have it, and it's really good. And I would go home and drink that. And I didn't lose my voice once, even though I had to scream so much. I'm very pleased with that.
Lucky.
But, yeah.
I gotta get me one of those jars. Ooh, it sounds actually fantastic for the voice. It's perfect. Yeah, I would say teas. Teas are great. Lemon, ginger, and honey. And I also didn't lose my voice once, which is amazing. But if I did feel a little tiny bit hoarse, I'll just try to take it easy. Literally, try not to, literally talk much afterwards. Just whisper things if you need to, although that's also not necessarily the best thing. But just taking it easy, yeah. And water.
Yeah, this may totally surprise you, but I'm a complete idiot. And so I'd bring nothing into the booth and I would use nothing to recover afterwards. I would just go home. I was like, oh, something doesn't feel right. And I just kind of deal with it for the rest of the week.
Yeah, water, lots of water, tea, same tea, honey. And also I had this some sort of spray. I don't remember the name. They gave it to me like a little.
Mace.
But it had a little honeybee in the box, and you just spray that on your throat, and it helps. I lost my voice probably at least 4 times.
Yeah.
So then when I would go home, I would try not to talk and have ice cream.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What was your favorite scene mocap?
The one, the rope scene with Luis was very fun. That was the first, I think, possibly the first scene we filmed in the game.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
First one, and we just dove right into one of the most complicated ones possible, and it was just fun. We had a blast. We had to just work through it with the director, and we made it work, but we had a lot of laughs, and your head was hurting pretty bad in that scene. First time he was wearing the squeezy helmet we talked about earlier, but that was my favorite, I think.
What is my favorite? All of it. I had a lot of fun filming when Ashley ends up running off on her own. There's a moment where she's standing on one side of a door, and the door is like banging because people are trying to get her. I had a lot of fun doing that one because there was no door, obviously. We just had to fake it, and it was fun to try to figure out how to make it look like the door was really like pushing me. And it was a nice moment for her because she kind of like calms herself down. She's like, okay, I got this. I like doing that one.
I would say that the beginning of like the first, scenes that we did when we're tied up, it's definitely up there for me too as well. It's just like jumping into the deep end right away. So that was really daunting. And then there was one that we were also with Mendez where I'm tied up. I'm like the Luis burrito. And our director Steve made me kind of worm, like literally like a caterpillar away from like what was happening the whole time. We did it for so long. I was just sweating. That one, and then the one with you when you were like just swinging an axe at me when we're doing the tied up scene.
Oh, when you guys were cutting the head off.
I was drenched. Yeah, exactly. I was drenched after that, but it was like trying to be in the moment, like literally feeling like there's some dude out there with an axe just swinging towards you and your head. You're like, so I don't know, to put yourself in that situation and trying to make it real was really fun. Yeah.
My favorite mocap scene was the transformation. When I got to transform into that big like scorpion bug thing, because no one could tell me I was doing anything wrong. How can you tell someone you're not turning into a giant scorpion?
That's true.
So hard to pick one. I think, as I said before, probably the last scene before I turned. But I really enjoyed being the Vertigo carrying dummy Ashley around. That was awesome. Yeah, I got to carry her, but obviously it wasn't her, it was a dummy. That was super fun.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Scene is the tied up scene because I think I started watching somebody play the game and I was like, oh wow, this is like amazingly done. And so like, what was the exact like process? Like, how were you guys rigged up? Like, how did you go about creating that scene? Because it's kind of complicated with a lot of angles.
It's hard to explain it without seeing photos, but we actually rigged up. Which part? When we're tied up together?
Luis and
we actually had a big pole that was lifted, like 20 feet in the air in the room, and we had an actual rope that we had those funny little balls on that too. We captured the rope, and we did the whole thing as if it was happening. So we were yanking on this thing. We tried to do it so many different ways, but that worked. And again, they do their magic with the CG. They fix little things here and there, but we were actually tied to each other.
Hey, stop it. You move, I move.
Yeah, and so we choreographed the whole thing. We changed it up and made it feel real with all the beats and the moments and everything. But it was a very choreographed scene, very planned out. And even the stuff with the axe guy in the middle, that was Marcio. And so we actually, I think, tethered a rope around his neck.
Did we? Yeah, you guys actually did, and I had a mark, man. You guys were like, pull this way, pull the other. No, do not pull, man.
We almost strangled him for that, but so we actually acted that out with an actual rope, and we captured everything like that. Yeah.
Awesome. Sounds fun. Thank you.
If Resident Evil 4 Remake was a ride at a theme park, which part of the game would you choose? Is it going to be the village, the castle, the island? And what type of a ride is it going to be? Is it going to be a boat ride, a roller coaster, or a dark ride?
Maybe a gondola ride from the original 4. A gondola ride that ends up in an ice cream shop. Say that. That's my answer.
I mean, I feel like there's almost a theme park ride in 4 already, with these 2 lovely ones. So I feel like it would have to be a roller coaster that is themed like a mine cart. Yeah.
I would say the mine carts.
Yeah.
that is legendary, and I've watched many people play it, and I'm like, I just want to grab the remote, and I just want to wait again. Stay tuned to my streams, but I want to play it so bad. That one part, it just looks really fun. So I would say it would be the minecart scene for me, and that it would be a roller coaster, maybe with like some shooting aspects, like lasers, so you can shoot Dr. Salvador. There's a little thing there that you can do with Dr. Salvador. So, something like that. Yeah.
I would choose a haunted house, like a fun house with the regenerators on the island laboratory.
That's a good one.
I can't even look at that, let alone imagine what it would be like to actually wander through there with that sniffling going around the corners. Can't stand it.
That would be amazing.
You're welcome.
I think I'm with Andre. The mine roller coaster for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming. Give it up for the cast of RE4.
Thank you guys.